All right, let's do this. All right, what's up, guys? All right, so we're on to the next episode of the podcast. Today it's kind of fun. So the guest that I've got this week is a streamer that, like, just looking, you'll see kind of when you look at his setup, you kind of look at like the vibe that he has on his stream is very, very similar to kind of what you guys see with my stream. So I think it's going to be kind of neat just to kind of see, someone that has maybe a little different gaming background, but kind of has a similar kind of vibe. And I don't know, it's kind of fun. So I'm gonna bring him in here. His name is Division by Zero, and bring him in just a quick second. Here, 50-50. Here he is, my man Nick. There we go. All right, and then I've got to mute it,
Hey,
and
how's
you're
it going,
good.
everybody?
All
Happy
right.
Saturday.
Yeah. So what was it 3 streams ago? I had Little Dom Dom on. And after I finished the interview with Little Dom Dom, I was like, do you know any other streamers that you think would be good to come on and do this with me? And you were definitely the first person that popped into her mind. So I thought that was pretty cool. What's that relationship like? How do you guys kind of know each other? Is it just through like community interaction, or like how do you guys kind of have a connection there?
So it's kind of a funny story. Back when I was trying to figure out how to network on Twitch, and I wasn't quite sure. Like, I didn't want people to think I was self-promoting because that was something that like always like kind of like it. I wasn't necessarily upset at somebody if they self-promoted, but it always like take my energy down a bit, because you have to like say, well, I'm still a small community myself. Like, we're just trying to grow here, and so I made a secondary account, and I was looking for other streamers on that secondary account to like partner with, play some squads and duos with, and I came across Dom's stream. This was about almost like, I'd say, 16 to 18 months ago, and she seemed really nice, had a great energy, was having a lot of fun at the game, and I was like, that's the type of person I want to be associated with. And so I, spent some time getting to know her community, and then I was like, hey, I'm actually, this is a second year account, so that was a funny story trying to get her on board with like what was going on. I had to type in with both at the same time, but um, you know, she's on a different time zone. So she's in EU, I'm on NA East, and it's actually worked out really well for us to support each other as small content creators, because we make different content, but we
Hmm.
have a similar positive mind, positive outlook on streaming, and kind of goals where we want to go. So it just made sense to um, be extremely like supportive of one another, and I've just been very thankful to meet other friendly people um, on Twitch
Hmm.
through her community as well. Like, I, able to meet you, and it's always interesting diving down deeper into the Twitch community because you hear about a lot of the drama, but I think there's so many amazing people on here who their dream is to be streaming, and
Hmm.
getting in contact with those people and building up that community has been amazing.
Yeah, for sure. What I gotta just because I want to make sure I understand. What was the purpose of the secondary account? Like, why did you not use your primary
Mhm.
account to communicate? Like, what was the thought there?
So I didn't want someone to think like I I wanted to get to know somebody. So I'd actually had a bad experience where I had been typing in on my primary account, and someone had used, like, when they found out I was a streamer, and there was like, they weren't they were like a negative streamer, like they focus a lot on drama, and they sent some of their people my way to like kind of harass my chat.
Oh,
Um
wow.
and so I was like, maybe when I'm just getting to know people, and I was smaller, I was like, um, I my average was like 3 to 5 people, and
Hmm.
I didn't, it's when you're at that size and you have people coming in to give you a hard time, it's kind of hard to get over that energy. Um, so I've now since moved on to different ways. One is, I think rating is the best way, honestly, to network, because you raid somebody, you get to know their channel, spend some time in their chat, and then come back to see them again, not just that one time thing. Um, but as someone who was just trying to figure out how to network in between my full time job and everything, I
Hmm.
was doing that to get to know people a bit better.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I haven't really experienced, much of that, like where I've had
Mhm.
someone come in, come like where I'm
Mhm.
interact, because I interact a lot on Twitch, and I haven't had that a
Yeah.
lot where I'm interacting in someone else's channel and then they come back. And but I
Mhm.
think like you were saying, I think it depends on the channel that you're in, and if you're not aware that that channel is kind of like has that negative vibe, or that those types of
Yep.
people that are going to come and try to like attack what you're doing, or like
Mhm.
be malicious in your chat, that kind of thing. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I think I've branched out, but maybe I haven't got like into some of those, some of those like those veins of Twitch where you can kind of get those types of people, or like that type of
Yeah,
vibe going.
I
That
think that
makes
was
sense.
just very unlucky. I don't think that's what happens most of the time on Twitch, but I think I just got a bit unlucky, and
Hmm.
I shouldn't have taken it to heart. That's why I stopped doing that. But the secondary account was like my baby steps into networking.
Yeah,
On
that makes sense. I mean, I guess one of the obvious questions too is like, how long have you been streaming for? Like, when did you start? Kind of like, what's the progression been like?
So I started in 2018. So like the first quarter of 2018. So almost well, so about 2 years now. Yeah. Um, and progression, it was all over the place. I started streaming. Because I was well, one of the main reasons, other than the fact that it was a passion and I had really wanted to pursue content creation, I was in a job that was like really sucking the life out of me. And it was just 12 to 14-hour days, 5 days a week. Sometimes you'd have to do very rarely, but sometimes you have to do work on the weekend and just didn't have a lot of time. And it's not a job where you would talk to people. So I just
Hmm.
spend all that time like in my own head. And I just had felt like I had all this bottled up, energy and creativity that wasn't being used in any way. And so I
Hmm.
was like, I need an outlet. And it started out, I saw people having so much fun playing Fortnite. And I was like, you know what? I want to play Fortnite too. And my friend said I should do YouTube, but I'm not really as into the video editing. So let's start out on streaming and on Twitch. So I started there, and it's been, I'd say, uh, it's been the first year I spent kind of making the same content. And then 6 months later, I started experimenting with some different content. And it wasn't until this last 6 months that I've really found my niche. And I've really been enjoying both the game and streaming like more than I ever have before.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because your timeline is about identical to mine. Also, like I
Mm,
started about 2 years ago, um, kind of similar, where I was playing games kind of like after work as sort of just like a stress reliever, like something to kind of do, like just to unwind at the end of the night. And
mhm,
then after a while, I've started to see people were streaming and kind of like, this might be a good, exactly what you said, basically
mhm,
like a good creative outlet, a good way to kind of get a little bit of like, just get some energy out there and kind of have a
mhm,
good time. But starting, I think 2 years ago and starting on Fortnite, when I feel like, there was like a million other people that kind of had the exact same thought, right?
mhm,
Kind of going into the most saturated game with, like it had the most viewers, but it also had the
mhm,
most streamers, and it also had the most like first time streamers or like new streamers,
mhm,
streaming this game and kind of like trying to find their way. And I've played pretty much. I've been on Fortnite pretty much since I started, but I've tried
mhm,
other games and tried to like get out of it at times, or try to get into more of a variety kind of mindset. But I feel like recently, like I think like you were saying, is if you find the right like niche within the game, you can still grow. And now that it's a little less saturated because people are starting to go and find other things, and even some of the bigger streamers are starting to leave. I feel like it's a little bit more of a discoverable game, or like you're a little more
mhm.
discoverable on it now, which is pretty
I,
cool for sure.
I completely agree.
Wh-
Mm.
What is
I
what's the niche that you kind of settled on?
So for me, the niche is competitive gaming, but with so I'm an adult for especially for like the Fortnite community, I should say. So like I'm on the older side of the competitive Fortnite community, so I'm 26 years old. Um, a lot of people wouldn't guess that by how I present myself, but I am 26, and I love competitive gaming. So I love team-based games like duos and trios. I've got an awesome trio right now that I'm playing with, and focus on competitive gameplay with clear communication and being able to kind of interact with chat a lot. I love being able to talk with members in the community, asking how their day is going. talk about gameplay if they have questions about what's going on. I think I'm a good middle ground between um, like the players who some of like the really big competitive Fortnite streamers like Benji Fishy or Mongrel or Booga or Clicks because I think if you try and watch them, you don't like even sometimes I watch them and they're doing things that I have no idea how they're doing it, right? And
Hmm.
I'm into the game competitively. And I learn a lot from them, but if I didn't know the things that I know, I wouldn't be able to learn anything. So I think
Hmm.
I'm a good middle ground for people who want to play the game and see some good gameplay,
Yeah,
but also kind of want to know what's going on. And I can answer those questions. Whereas some of the bigger streamers who are at the top, the very top of the competitive level, it's kind of hard to keep up with them, and their content is geared a little bit more towards a younger audience.
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Fortnite is it's like there's so many different levels, and I think that like the
Mhm.
technical aspect when you really start to like dissect the building and like some of the things that people are able to do with building, especially like you were saying at those levels, it's like you watch it but not it's very difficult to understand like how they make those how they make those like the combinations and edits and like how
Mhm.
they're thinking about like placing things like multiple steps ahead basically, so like they're doing something with the intent of they're like the other player doing forcing the other player to do something or forcing the other player into like this position of weakness that
Yeah.
like for myself like I see that it's happening but I have no idea like you know what I mean. It's very difficult, like
Yeah.
you said, it's very difficult to follow, and it's also not an interactive
Hmm.
stream in any way. There's no way to actually like get that feedback and understand unless they're willing to just share that, or they're just in the mood to like share that information with you because they're just talking about like they're figuring something new out, or they just figured something out and they happen to be saying
Yeah.
it. You'd never be able to
Exactly.
pick that stuff up for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's interesting. Like I was thinking about like playing Fortnite 2 years ago and how if you threw down a ramp like you were doing something,
Yeah.
like like
Yeah.
literally
Yep.
like that was a lot, just throwing down anything, and not even like in a necessarily like defensive like defensive way. It was just like,
Yeah.
hey, I threw down a ramp and I got
Yeah.
over an obstacle or I got around something, you know what I mean? Now it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
like where we've gotten to today, but
Mhm.
oh, that's super interesting. I think where I wanted to go with that. Yeah, that's the stuff I kind of wanted to know. I think a little bit about was just like, how have you played other games competitively, or is this kind of like your first kind of like entry into competitive gaming, or like what's your background with competitive?
So, this is a fun story. I always like talking about this. So I loved like when I was a kid, dude, I just like loved single player games. I loved Kirby, I loved Mega Man. Like I couldn't get enough of that, right? And
Hmm.
then I was playing Halo 2. My family, my extended family is so competitive just like overall, and I'm like the least competitive person in my extended family, and that like shocks people, right? Um so I was playing Halo 2 multiplayer, and I was just there to have fun because I was with my cousins having a good time. And we at whatever team I was on lost, and I thought everybody was having a fun time, right? And then they were like, "I don't want Nick on my team. He sucks." And I was like 8 years old, 8 or 10 years old, and I left crying. I was like, "Nobody's gonna play with me," and they like hate playing with me, and I thought everyone was having fun. So I was like, "I'm never gonna let that happen again." So then a few years later, Halo 3 comes out, and I start playing that like crazy, and I'm like, "All right, this is gonna be my game." If you need to answer that, by the way, you
Yeah, let me
can.
go. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure. Sorry, guys. Let's pause.
All right, time for me to eat some chocolate. Ooh, I'll show it off. It's my favorite. I love it. It's so good. Ooh, so good. Strong, velvety, dark chocolate. Mm.
That's the first time that's happened. So
Uh,
they were. I'll just explain really quick. So they're doing construction on my street. The guy had to tell me that he was shutting my water off for an hour, and I was
mm.
like, okay, like,
No.
but he wasn't going to go away until I walked over there.
Oh no.
So that's fair. But
What
all
are you
right,
answering with then?
yeah, yeah. I'm not worried about it. I got something going on. So
Mm.
um, All right, so it was Halo 3. I gotta ask this because this is like what popped into my head when you first started talking about the games you were playing.
Mhm,
How you're 26, I'm 30, so I'm
mhm,
36, right? So like I grew up with Nintendo games because it was like in the 80s, right?
mhm,
How did like do you have older siblings? Like how did you get into like NES games? Because that's like a little. I would think that
mhm,
it's like 10 years before. You know what I mean? Like it seems like it's a
mhm.
little out of your.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did you get into
So
that?
my family didn't have a lot of money growing up, or still, but didn't have a lot of money, and we had recently moved, and we moved to the mountains of North Carolina, and my brother made a friend. His name was RJ, and he had gotten a new Xbox, and he had an old Nintendo, and he said, "I don't play this anymore." So I also have really bad allergies. So like I love being outside, but I used to only be able to spend so much time outside, because that was before like Allegra and things were over the counter.
Hmm.
So like he was like, "Here, give this to Nick," and it had Mega Man, it had Super Mario 1, 2, and 3, or Mega Man 3, sorry. And like a Ninja Turtles game, and that's so I played on that. That was my first like gaming system that I had,
Hmm.
and I could just the games were cheap. They were only like we could go to a local flea market and get it for like a new game for like $5 or $10. So it wasn't a big deal for my parents to get one of those, and that's how I kind of expanded my collection of Nintendo games.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, because so yeah, obviously, like I was saying, like I'm a little bit older, so I kind of grew up with the NES.
Hmm.
But I think it was I don't know exactly the timeline on this. I think it was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I was watching a lot of YouTube like videos, like kind of giving me like nostalgia of
Hmm.
NES, and I got really into collecting it for a minute. So you can't
Okay.
really, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't really see my videos cut off a little bit, but I have a
Mhm.
shelf, like I was saying, like kind of like back behind me here, and
Yeah.
I think I've got about 100 of them, like 100 games, something like right in
Oh
that
wow.
range.
Yeah.
And I run a Retron like that I can play the
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
cartridges on, and it's plugged into my capture card, so it's really easy for me to
Oh,
like to
nice.
stream NES games. I don't do it all the time, but every once in a
Mhm.
while I'm just like in the mood to do that. But it's like I just thought that was really cool that you've got because I can see some of the games behind you there, and it's just like it's fun to kind of hear that. And I know I think your emotes are even like Mega Man like inspired emotes, right?
Mhm. So
Yeah.
my first one is Mega Man inspired emote, Mega Man Zero from my favorite, like one of my favorite segments of the Mega Man franchise. It was for the Game Boy Advance. And then I have a Mercy emote because I was a Mercy and Tracer main when I was top 500 in Overwatch.
Yep.
And then my dance emote is from my first skin in Fortnite. And I'm forgetting what some of my other ones are, but there you
Yeah.
go.
I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. So like so what was your favorite game? Like when you were young and playing and you kind of had just like a handful of games that you had get your hands on. Like what was your go-to? Like what was the one that you would probably put the most time in or had the most fun with?
So, if we're just talking about NES games, I would say it would be Mega Man 3.
Okay.
Because when I was a kid, it was basically impossible for me to beat it. Like when I was like 4 years old, I
Yeah.
wasn't good enough to like really beat it, but I could maybe beat a couple bosses.
Mhm.
And like the challenge of like getting through some of those hard levels, and like getting to the end and like almost killing the boss, or like getting like 3 bosses down before I had to like restart, was always just so nice. And the music, man, music's always been a big. Looking back, I realize that music's been a huge driving force in the games that I like,
Mhm.
including first-person shooters like Unreal Tournament, like great drum and bass soundtrack. Before I even knew what drum and bass was, the whole thing's like intense drum and bass music, and Halo 3 with the orchestral um symphonies and everything. It's just like it's been a huge driving force for the games that I've enjoyed. And then Sonic, my neighbors had Sonic 2, and that was always a blast. I go over there just play that sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my god. Yeah, Sonic 2 is great. Like that's I don't know. That was definitely one of my I like the first game was good, but like when they I think the some of the
Added
mechanics,
Tails,
yeah,
right?
they added tails, but then some of the mechanics that they introduced and then like you could always have like, like your little brother or somebody like you could have somebody else playing Tails and they didn't have to keep up, which was kind of nice.
Exactly.
So it was
Yeah.
like they were kind of playing, but they couldn't really hurt anything and they couldn't,
Exactly. They can
whatever.
only
So
help.
yeah, they
Yeah.
could only help exactly. So that's pretty awesome. But Okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got into the background of that, because it's like that was like, I think when we were kind of setting this interview up, that was one of the things that I was super interested in, because I don't know, like whenever I bring retro into my stream, like I feel like a lot of people, it's very like lost on them, especially like younger
really.
people. Well, because they just don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, you've
Yeah.
got these games are getting really old now. You've got games that are that are getting close to 40 years old, some of these. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy when you think about it. If someone's 12, 13 years old, it's like, I don't know, it's like an
Oh, yeah.
artifact. It's like an artifact or something like that now. So I don't know, it's
Yeah,
kind of
that's always painful when you, like, talk about something that you really did love, and you're like, "Man, this is so much fun," and they're like, "What is that?" No. Oh, man.
oh my god.
Um,
Okay, why don't we jump in and start playing a little bit of games, and then
sure.
kind of go from there. Yeah. Let's see here. Don't see.
Let me type it again. I am also, like, sometimes the worst at typing, so a
Yeah.
typo is probably up my alley. But yeah, I went from
Gotcha.
competitive gaming. I Halo 3, love that. Um, like I said, it was parents didn't have a lot of money, and driving to like LAN events wasn't really in the cards because we were 2 hours away from any city. So just played that mostly competitively online, and then got into Halo Wars, the
Mm-hmm.
RTS, and had like at one point I had 3 accounts in the top 15 in the world in a number of playlists. And
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah, so I was people would quit as soon as they saw my username.
Holy smokes. That's
So
awesome.
it was crazy. And then, I still played games competitively. I played Overwatch then. Yeah, top 107 was the highest I got on Xbox. I stayed between 107 and 300 from seasons 3 to 5, and then the competitive scene kind of died out on console with Overwatch League,
Mm-hmm.
and people were switching up to PCs. So once that community died, I kind of just got out of it and started playing PUBG for fun.
Okay. So with Overwatch, were any of those LAN events, or was that all?
All online
That's
for
all
me too.
online. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because that was really before there was a whole lot going on for LAN. Like the first few seasons was when people were still trying to figure out what the game was about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think season 3 was when they added no, was when season 2 was when they added competitive with the top 500. But there were some changes around season 3 to 5 that made the game extremely fun to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
That game
And
is kind of lost on me. Like, it was one of those ones that, like, I think I downloaded it when it was in beta,
mm,
and I tried it, and I was like, it seemed like so much going on, and like I was
yeah.
so confused what was happening, that I was just like, I don't know. It's like this game too. I did the same thing with Fortnite. Like, I downloaded it like immediately, like right when it launched, because I think I got like an ad or something on on Xbox or something. It was like, hey,
Okay.
this new game, try this or whatever. So I downloaded it. It's a free game, or whatever.
Yeah,
And
whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I feel like I dropped in and I was like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I didn't even understand
Yeah.
the concept of like a battle royale. I didn't really
Mhm,
understand like what the building aspect of it was, like of it
mhm.
was, and like it was just so lost on me. Like, it took me a long time to kind of like, I think, get an appreciation for Fortnite, but then also like
Mhm.
want to like put the time in on it, right? Like come
Yeah.
back and like actually like grind it and really learn how to get how to get better and that kind of thing. But I don't know.
Well, so like I actually bought a PC to play PUBG with my friends because that was before it was on console, right?
Hmm.
And like battle royales were like a new concept. Um, and some of my friends talked about Fortnite, and they told me that you could break buildings, and because I was so used to like having to hide behind a rock to win a game in PUBG,
Yeah.
that like really upset me. I was like, how are you supposed to win a game if you can't even hide it somewhere? Right? So I was like, I am not playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
And then I saw like season 4,
Just
like all the
drop
big
somewhere like,
streamers playing. I
yeah.
love it. I love it. I saw them all playing, and I was like, "Oh wait, this is what they meant. Like this is what building is. Like this is how you break stuff." I was like, "That's kind of
Yeah.
cool."
Yeah. I think, yeah, for me it was like everybody always teases me because it was like the ninja thing that kind of like
Mhm.
allowed me to like get exposure to Fortnite, where like
Yeah. Yep.
you see the, I think it was when he played with what it was. You can play with
Drake?
Drake, yeah. Because it's like, you know, I'm a, like I said, I'm older. You know, I was at work. Like, I'm not really
Yep.
like tied into like, I didn't even really know what Twitch. I mean, I knew what Twitch was, but
But
like
you're not like into it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I didn't really like understand like why do I want to be here? Oh God, I'm gonna die like instantly. Yeah, I didn't understand like all of like the draw to. Ah, shoot, that guy's like the draw to like, you know, Twitch and like the communities and like all that stuff. It took me forever to kind of learn like what all this was about, and I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. Ninja was one of the Ninja was the first this is actually my recommendation to anyone new starting out a game like Fortnite. If you wanna, like, I guess you don't even have to necessarily want to take it like really competitively, but just like if you wanna improve. Headshot.
Did you really just smoke him?
Yep. Yeah, he's dead. He's knocked though.
Okay, up second floor.
But I recommend that everyone finds a pro with a game style. Guys pushing over to you from the water. He's dropped down. Not well. We're getting flare gunned. Ooh. Oh, my shot didn't go. Nice.
But you think there was another guy here?
Yeah, there's another guy shooting a flare gun at us from the pavilion. There were minis here if you want those.
Whoops. I didn't mean to do that.
Friendly fire.
Alright, let me see if I can just grab you really quick. Let's see.
Help me. I need help.
We're trying. Oh my God.
I'm drowning.
Yeah, well, I think what you're getting on though is like that was one of the reasons that I started to watch Ninja. Was like, wasn't so much that like he had a playstyle that was similar to mine, but it was a like, you know, someone that was playing at a high level that I could watch and sort of like learn, like just learn, right? Like learn how to, you know, how to do basic things, like look at the things that they were doing that, you know, obviously were helping them, that kind of thing.
Exactly, yeah. So like a lot of people ask about binds too, so I have a binds and like sensitivity video that like people can click on that's on Twitch. But I based my original binds off of the binds that Ninja uses, including like his DPI and everything. Because I liked how he played aggressive. I liked how he like went in and fought, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna suck for a while, but I'm just gonna drop aggressively every game, and I'm gonna learn how I like to play, and I'm gonna get used to these binds and work on my aim. So
That makes sense.
It's changed a lot since then, but having that foundation greatly improved my gameplay and the skill curve at which it took me to learn.
Yeah, it lessens that curve a little bit, and you can kind of, yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, is like you kind of, with this game, you feel like you just sort of keep trying different things until you sort of like, you know, until you sort of get it. Yeah, and I'm very different. Like the way I look at this game is like I play it very, very casually. Like, you know, I think what my niche ended up being was more like I do just kind of roll like just play like a solo game or whatever. But we were also doing like memes and stuff where trying to come up with silly, fun things to do in the game that I think just like adds a little layer of like, you know, a little humor, a little like it plays into my personality a little more. And because I think that's the challenge with this is like there's so many good talented players. It's like even if you play just slightly above average, it's like what are you offering? You know, what are you offering in terms of entertainment as well, right? And like, oh God, where is this guy at? Oh, they're on the house, the yellow house there. There's two.
Let's see if I can take a shot. Are they chasing? Headshot? No. Okay.
Missed every shot. Got lasered.
I believe. I'm getting involved. No more missing shots. What is he gonna do here? Oh.
Now I'm out of mats. I knew that was coming. Oh God. There's no way. No way.
You got it. I believe. Dude, I don't know what is happening to my shots. But
They're
they're
just
like
not
actually
registering.
disappearing. They're disappearing on this guy's
Oh
forehead.
my god.
Like, uh, I've never seen
I'm
so
just
many
back. I'm
shots.
just backing up a little bit, just 'cause
Yeah,
no HP
they're over
here.
here. They're flanking around behind the brick house.
Okay.
Actually, they're coming on the middle now. They used all their mats apparently. Two headshot.
I
Dead.
hit the.
Guy in the back is dead. I'm pushing.
Okay. I hit the other guy for 21. He still has some shield. Distracting him.
Come on.
He taps me once. I'm down. It's fine.
Oh.
It's all right. It's all right. You got him. I'll just kind of roll over towards you.
What? I'm in trouble here. Hmm.
Yeah, he's just sitting on the height there.
Yeah, I'm in what we call a bad situation. This is high level gameplay at its finest.
I thought you were gonna get him. It looked good. It looked good.
I did too. I did too. I kind of choked that. I ran out of mats and I was a little bit out of my element.
It's all good. So the other thing I wanted to try to kind of roll into was, you know, like I was talking about Dom Dom earlier. One of the things that she told me about was you had an opportunity that kind of I think was affected by, you know, Corona and quarantine and that kind of thing. It sounded like it was an internship or like I don't know. You know, you can just share how much you want to share about it, but just kind of like this, like the general situation. I think is what we want to kind of touch on.
Yeah. So I'm a full-time MBA student. I'm getting my master's in marketing and innovation management, and that's innovation management is bringing new products to market and like how to you know, change up processes in a way that that can help improve efficiency. So that's like the idea behind that. And well, I got an internship with a international like clothing brand, sports clothing brand, and the sports segment was the part I was going to be working on, and they completely last minute canceled the program. So part of the struggle is that once you agree to a like once you accept a contract as part of your MBA contract when you start school is you have to honor that, and you actually get kicked out of the program if you don't honor when you accept a job offer.
Okay.
So they canceled the company I was going to work for canceled like 3 weeks before I was supposed to work
Oh
for
my
my
god.
3 weeks before I was supposed to work for my program. So um, you know, it was too late to find any other internship opportunities, which was very unfortunate. But I decided to, you know, I'd saved up about as much money as I could because I'm pretty frugal when it comes to just like buying things.
Mm-hmm.
So I saved up as much money as I could, and with the help of a little bit of extra stuff from the stream, I've been just trying to build out and improve my like skills with my editing programs, editing software, logo design. I made like all my logos, all my transitions. I can make emotes now. I uh, worked more with video editing and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I just wanted to take this time at least, even if I couldn't get a traditional job. You know, I wanted to take this time to build out my skills and, you know, kind of hone in on my niche.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was definitely a big change though. You know, because marketing is a job based on experience and where you're trained. So
Mm-hmm.
it is going to be really tough for me to find a job next year, or like yeah, by the time I graduate without an internship. But
Okay.
I'm hoping that with the help of my stream, because that's actually a funny thing, is I actually have my Twitch on my resume, right?
Okay.
And it is very much a like it's a real hit or miss. You know, people are really super on board with it, or they have no idea, and it disqualifies me from you know, a job, but at the same time, I don't want to work in an environment where what I love and what I'm passionate about is looked down on, you
Yeah.
know? So like one thing I will say about the company, they were trying to get the internship to work just with all the restrictions and everything in North Carolina, it just wasn't going to be able to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um so like they one of the reasons they hired me was because of my like Twitch and the fact that, you know, I have a different mindset about networking and, you know, what's possible, right? A lot of people don't even get, you know, Facebook yet. And
Mm-hmm.
you're like, what do you mean you don't get Facebook? But like a lot of business people don't really get how you can use Facebook for advertising, and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
explain it to people. So when you talk to people in the business world who are looking for innovation and they're looking for new ideas, the fact that you're willing to get yourself out there and stream on a platform to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a live audience all over the world, that I most people have thought of that as a really good thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um
I think a lot of people don't understand like how Twitch, like, you know, being a Twitch streamer and starting at like nothing, right? Starting at like deciding that you're gonna like live stream, start at zero. You're basically
yep,
building a brand and building, you know, it's like
exactly.
an independent business like from the ground up, and you're trying to find an audience. You're trying to, I mean, it's just there's so many things that. Oh shoot, you're getting.
No way do I
Say.
get they rolled up on me pretty quick. I almost got him. There we go.
Oh, it was just the.
Marauders, yeah.
Okay.
I always take them for granted. I'm always like, ah, it's not gonna be a big deal. And then they like hit me a few times. I'm like, oh, that kind of hurts.
Yeah, for sure. There's a med kit.
Oh, thank you. Someone is pushing us though, apparently, with grenades from the other side.
Yeah, I mean that's like, I don't know. I think that when I first started streaming, I didn't realize that as much, and didn't realize how important like all of the other aspects of trying to build a community, trying to build like a personal like you know, just have people like be aware of you on the
Yeah.
platform, and how difficult that is, but also like, I don't know. I think it's very rewarding too, because anytime
I
that
agree.
you make a new, oh, there's a guy they're over there. Anytime you make a new connection, anytime that, you know, you hit that like that next like little landmark in terms of growth, it's just it really is. It's like it's such a personal thing, right? Like you just, I don't know. It makes me feel good every time I kind of hit a different, you know, just hit a different level. I feel like, or you know, you get that
100% agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's also super humbling too. I I was talking about this with someone the other day, where it's like, you know, you know, every time that you kind of feel like you take a few steps forward, I feel like Twitch is very quick to like
Pull
pull
you
that,
back just a
yeah,
bit, yeah.
like pull you back. I just got lasered.
Oh no. Hello.
Whoa, okay, that was cool.
Dead. All right. I'm gonna kill you first. Make you pay for what you did.
He smoked me. Oh my god. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I think it's a really interesting, like, I don't know. It's interesting how that happens, and how you have to sort of like manage the big ups and downs of, you know, of streaming, and like, you know, like every time you feel like your community is starting to move forward and grow, you know, all of a sudden it's like, where did everybody go? And I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just like,
what happened? Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I'll splash you too, by the way.
Oh,
I'm holding, I got you. Yep.
oops.
Dead. There you go.
Jeez, dude.
Just there you go, airdropped and delivered. Faster than FedEx, baby.
Dang, smoked
Alright.
him. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. It is a humbling experience. You know, because that's part of like the fact that it is, you know, it's free, right? To like consume the content, and that it's like the ultimate like there's a balance between maintaining the same content while also providing new and exciting experiences for users,
Yep.
because a lot of people expect you to kind of be the same but also like to always be exciting, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then if you change too much too soon, like people like, yeah, people are gonna kind of like, yeah, they're not gonna always be accepting of it, or they're gonna, you know what I mean? That's like, they're like, well, no, this is what I like, or this is what I liked about what you did. And then, yeah, exactly. Like that's, yeah, that's kind of interesting.
But Go ahead.
Oh, I was just trying to think of like just kind of going because we kind of like just going back to what you're talking about with the internship and that. So it sounds like you've got other like you can get another opportunity, but for kind of like the time being, it's sort of like a big unknown, right? Because you don't know like when things are going to loosen back up, like what those opportunities will look like if there are any, and like it's so yeah.
So with marketing, marketing took a big hit actually with everything. So like traditional marketing and yeah, it took a big hit, and that's where a lot of the budgets are being cut for
Mm-hmm.
for companies with you know, in the current like pandemic situation with coronavirus. So like I said, it's gonna be really tough. I just gotta what I can do is just focus on, you know, improving my resume, improving my skills as
Mm-hmm.
far as it comes to like, you know, I know all of the pretty much, well, not all the programs. I know like 5 programs in the Adobe suite, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to say I can do those things, and I need to learn a little bit of coding like C++ because marketing's moving that way too. So like I need to learn a little bit of coding, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, as long as I do those things, I think, you know, hopefully someone will buy into the personality, you know, and be like, all right, I can see it. I can see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, but that's pretty much what I'm hoping for now. You know, I took this time to reevaluate what was like instead of just being really upset about it, because I was upset about it, but
Mm-hmm.
like instead of just sitting there and ruminating on it, I turned negative like feelings into positive action, and that's kind of been like my a mantra for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if you're feeling hard on yourself, right? Don't just like sit inside, like go out for a run, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like do some push-ups, work out a bit, eat a healthy meal. And it's made a big difference over the start of the summer to where I'm at now, like both in my content and in how I feel. I'm just like so much better off. So it this has given me time to reevaluate like some of my interests, where I stand. It helped me find like really settle into my niche of Fortnite,
Mm-hmm.
of playing a bit more competitively, um, well, ultimately being positive, you know, because I think that's another thing that's lost in a lot of the Fortnite communities is, especially the competitive Fortnite
Yeah.
communities, is people get like really negative when they're not performing, or like they get really harsh on their communities or other people. And you can still be you can be competitive while also being supportive of other people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
You didn't see anything. That was bad.
oh, I thought I headshot that guy. Dang it! Is that a
I think it's a bot for sure.
Major 00F49? Sounds like a real name to me.
Yeah. So yeah. So for me, at the beginning of like, so when the pandemic kind of hit and
Mhm.
things started to shut down, like I had been working full time,
Okay.
and well,
Oh,
I
wow.
so I work full. I mean, I still work full time, but I got laid off because our company just we couldn't operate because of the restrictions.
Yeah.
Um, that should have hit. So I basically at the beginning or end of March, I went from working full time to being laid off for like the first time in my adult life where
Oh, wow.
I just didn't have a
Yeah.
job. Oh,
Oh,
got him.
nice snipe. Oh my god.
And yeah, so it was kind of crazy. Like it was just a really crazy thing. But like what I did was I decided to start treating stream as a full-time job, right? So it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got
yeah.
I've got all this time. I've been streaming for for years, but I've never had this amount of time to just dedicate dedicate to streaming. So yeah, so it's actually, I mean, it was actually really like a cool. Oh, there's another guy like further out there.
There. They're here. I really want this loot, if I'm being honest. Okay.
Ah.
Ah.
I'm totally lost these guys. They're like way up there. No, he's so low.
Oh! Grappler!
Crap! Oh, he's
Grappler,
eating a fish.
grappler.
He's eating 2 fish. He's like full health now. God dang it. That was close. Maybe splash me too, kid. Oh. You have like all the best weapons. That's awesome.
I have no. Oh no.
Oh, that was terrible timing.
It's looking pretty bad for the good guys, I gotta say. What we got here? Chug splashes. Come on, minis. Oof. Alright. It's hard to pass up on that. But looks like I will.
Yeah, so I was off work between, what was it, the end of March and like the first like 2 weeks of May. So I had like, I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks that I had to basically full-time stream, which was pretty, which kind of crazy. I mean, because I mean, as an adult, like, you know, that's, you know, I can't generally afford to do that, you know, and I would never have done that, you know, intentionally, just because, you know, you would, you know, yeah, you would just be working. So, yeah, but it was really interesting experience though, like just setting myself up on, you know, like doing like 8 hour, 10 hour, you know, like whatever, like streaming all day, like getting up, you know, getting on something. And I was doing a lot of like, and it was giving me a good amount of time to try different content too. Like I was able to do story games that I don't typically get to play. You know, trying, you know, different things with my community, like just all kinds of different, you know, different games. And just, it was such a good experiment, and like also a good experience, like just to try and see what full-time streaming would be like, because obviously that's always like, you know, the goal for any streamer generally is to make it their full-time gig, right? Like to find success to the point where it doesn't make sense to do something else. And you know, it's, you know, streaming is just like your thing, right? And it was cool, like where you didn't have the option to do anything else. You know, I would say the only, not the only thing, but like one of the challenging parts of that for me was the isolation aspect of it, just because of, you know, like the whole, you know, just the thing with quarantine and how it was sort of, you know, how it's set up. It's like you can stream full time, you can do all these things, but not interacting with people face to face for long periods of time, I felt like was really, you know, like that sort of like isolation was really, really hard in terms of like trying to like balance my you know, balance myself just emotionally and keeping, you know, keeping in a good positive mental state. So it's kind of funny that, that's like exactly what you were talking about. But it was fun to be able to stream like that, but at the same time you definitely could see like the challenges with you know, with doing that kind of stuff. So I don't know, it was cool. It was cool.
And I definitely there's a trend that I've noticed. Ooh, hello person. You too have a mythic weapon. I'll just sit here. Let him use his launcher. And I'll laser him when he goes up. Did they really split? Hey, I forgot the grappler. Does that.
Oh my God.
Like in that way, it's so they very much nerfed the grappler this season versus the last one, so it's still getting used to that when I have it. Unfortunately, they did. They were good players. They split up to actually get more kills.
Yeah.
Whenever you see that, you know that you're in for a good time.
That's what they're going for.
Yep. So,
oh my God. It's all good.
Funny.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, I'm trying to think where we were at. So, I guess let's talk a little bit more about Fortnite. So, like, how, I guess, what's your typical like stream look like? Like how do you kind of set up your stream? Like what's the dynamic you're using with Fortnite? Like kind of what does a typical stream look like for you when you get on to play? That kind of thing.
So one thing I really like to do is I like to, for the first segment, so like for the first hour and a half, I don't do this all the time, but I like to either like roll in with like solos or do duos with another content creator. And that's always a good time because that allows me to like get warmed up with chat, you know, ask people about their days. People know they have that time where they're gonna be more like way more focused than or focus on way more than other parts of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that time hits around like 6 to 6:30, I typically roll into the team-based gameplay. So last season that was duos,
Mm-hmm.
and I played pretty much every day with my duo Jackhammer, and then now it's trios. So around that time we play. It can be creative games. It can be arena. It's next week. It's going to be a lot of tournaments.
Okay.
And that's one of my favorite things to stream are like the cash cups and the like there's like sponsored content creator cup. Like I don't know if you heard like the Locky Cup or the EMAD Cup, but they're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah. Yep.
so like doing those tournaments is a big part of it, and so that's just content I enjoy
Okay.
making, and it's stuff like because I get to play at a competitive level.
So
Um,
when you do, so when you do that, like,
mhm.
what does your interaction turn into with chat and like with the community, that kind of thing? Like, do you kind of wait till like between games then to be more interactive, or are you
Mhm.
still trying to monitor it? Like, like what do you how do you feel like that affects like the way you're streaming, or like your personality as a streamer, like that kind of thing? Like when you're doing like competitive like that, where the points really make matter,
Yeah.
versus when it's more casual.
So I have experimented with it in different ways, and I'm currently still experimenting with a strategy. So in the past, I would when I first started doing tournaments, and it still wasn't my niche, right? It wasn't something I focused on.
Hmm.
I would still read chat, and chat was still the highest emphasis, but it did cost me a lot of games,
Hmm.
focusing on reading and giving people the attention I give them in normal games.
Hmm.
Um, so then I switched to more like where I'd read it if I could in between fights, and I would still be like paying attention because there's in specifically in solos there can be a lot of downtime, especially if you're not like if you're going for placement, you can have a lot of like, oh hello, is this Snakesy? Hey, it's Snakesy.
Oh, he was. Oh my god.
The stream sniper.
Wow.
How you doing, Snakesy? Um, but then I've recently so then I like switched over to like only when I'm like in fights am I really focused.
Okay.
And I am recently trying a strategy where I do kind of just catch up in between games.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for the last tournament, and I played much better. And I'm able to. I think people can really see my personality when I'm playing like that,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I get so excited, man. Like playing games and having a good time while doing them, like you can just get so excited. But it is very different because it's not, it is more of a when I'm doing that, it's less about um, the moment to moment messages in chat, and it's something I'm a bit uncomfortable with just because I like the
Mm-hmm.
community is so important to me, and getting to know people
Yeah.
is like one of the main reasons I got into streaming. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it is still a bit uncomfortable, but um, I still want to try it out a few more times to see how it pans out because you get some really good gameplay and some fun commentary
Yeah.
when I'm just able to enter a flow state with my teammates.
That makes sense, and I feel like most viewers that are interested in like competitive content want to see you
Mhm.
play at your highest level too, and they don't want to
Yeah.
see don't want to like see you getting distracted by a comment either they're making or someone else is making, and having it affect the game. That would make
Mhm.
sense to me for sure.
But yeah, that's definitely it. I mean, it really is like a different strategy. But I tried, like I really did, man. I tried to do like just the squads fun on stream and like not really do tournaments and stuff. And I did that for the first like year or so. Enemy's right here on me. He's like creeping around like a sneaky boy.
Okay.
All right, those are for you, my friend. Dead.
Nice.
Oh man, that's so funny. They were just camping in there. That's wild.
They were just sitting in the box.
Yeah, both. I thought it was just one, but then they were literally both just sitting there together. I don't think
Oh
I've
my
seen
god.
that. Yeah. Oh, who is shooting me? Oh, Ocean. Hmm. Mm.
How do you feel about all of like I don't know, I don't even know how to say this, like like basically what we're doing right now. Like, how do you feel about these types of things, like where you've got like bosses and mythic weapons and things like that when you're playing in a competitive game mode versus like when we're doing what we're doing, where you're just playing more of a casual casual kind of game.
So I do think that the game would be more balanced from a competitive side if the mythic weapons and AIs weren't in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but last season it was a huge problem, and with the mythics. But this season they're much more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't been quite as worried about it, and I actually land up here. I call it Winter Station. It's near the Caddy launcher. So
Okay.
my teammate Jackhammer is amazing with that weapon too. So it has actually significantly worked in our favor, because not only do we land there, but our teammates are actually really good with it too. So
That's dope. Okay.
yeah, so I'm a bit skewed this season, just because it's working out in our favor so well. But
Yeah.
I think last season it was really bad because the drum gun and the grappler and the minigun were just so powerful.
Yeah, that
Um,
if you didn't have one of them, it was just not going to be.
yeah, so
Yeah.
my go-to with that is like, Tfue, he is widely known as like one of the better players. He places well in almost all the tournaments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with him, right, he landed at Steamy Stacks, and he had been landing there since kind of the beginning of season or chapter 2, right?
Okay.
So he'd been landing there forever. And then
Mm-hmm.
the Mythic came out, and the big tournaments came out, and he didn't qualify, right, with his teammate Scoped for 2 weeks in a row. And then he, for a week, starts playing and landing at Grotto and gets the
Yep.
minigun. He gets like second, third place, qualifies, makes a ton of money, and like the only difference, they didn't play any different. They just had the machine gun,
Yep.
and that's, to me, that just tells you like the people who qualify are the ones who are able to use those weapons. So it is kind of an unfair advantage, and
So,
it's
but people still play where like not like that's not the only place people are going. You know what I mean? So like,
yep.
I guess how do you look at that? I guess aspect of it. Like obviously that wouldn't be great for the game either though. Is if all the professionals were dropping like
same
yeah
spot.
dropping same spots, right? You kind of want to have people more spread out so you get good late games, and that's generally the entertaining part of Fortnite, right? Is when everyone's stacked on top of each other and.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's balanced. So one, you have to be comfortable fighting early game. A lot of pro players actually aren't comfortable fighting early game.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they take a lot of pros feel like anyone can win early game versus like if they have max mats and good heals, like they feel like they can beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it
when
is
that
kind
skill
of.
gap makes more of a difference, right? Like, yeah.
So like a lot of pros say like I can build myself out of any situation, but if you are good at early game and it's not quite a 50-50, like where you're not sure if you'll win or lose and you're more confident that it's like a 90-10,
Mm-hmm.
that just means that when you win at those places that are riskier, you have to capitalize more on it. So the people that don't go to they're called mythic POIs, people that don't go to those need to win 10 out of 10 drops,
Mm.
so they need to win every single time, in order to make their games worth it. Because if you play consistent, it can kind of balance out for that one crazy game, right?
That makes sense, yeah.
So their thing is like consistency over explosive wins. I would think. So they
Mm-hmm.
can still have explosive wins, but you have to then play very defensively until you know what you're fighting up against. Because if if you're in a fight and then one of the guys like with the shockwave launcher or the grappler team rolls up on you and pins you down,
Mm-hmm.
you're in a really dangerous position. So it's about like managing how you want to play the game and like maximizing your team's strengths.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah, but it's a different play style. So the only reason we're actually landing there is because like I said, I land up here at this winter station and we win basically 10 out of 10 drops.
Mm-hmm.
But it works out in our favor because we can then push down and fight the people who are at the caddy corner.
Yes. Yep.
So that's kind of our current strategy right now. If it's too hot and we don't have good materials or just equipment, we will leave the area. But if we're able to, we typically try and fight down there, get some kills.
That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah, and we were making that same observation last night. I was just playing duos with with one of my
Mhm.
friends, and he's like, dude, it seems like because we were just dropping Katie Corner just because it's fun,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's like, dude, I feel like every time we win the fight there,
Somebody
someone
pushes in.
yeah, someone drops in right at the last second and like smokes us. So it's like
Yep.
it's kind of
Yep.
funny how you're exactly right, because like before you even have time to heal up, because you're going to be weak by the end of the but if you win the whole thing, you're going to be weak at least a little bit, and then
Yep.
yeah, someone just waits till the last second and then just pushes
Yep.
in, and yeah,
Yep.
pretty funny.
It's kind of wild, man. Like how that works. Because we played in a game a couple days ago, and we were one of 5 teams watching 3 teams
Mm.
fight. So like there were 5 teams gathered around on all the mountains,
Oh my god.
shooting in on these 2 teams. So it was like, everybody knows that it is really strong, and
Mhm.
they'll land all around their loot up and push in. So it's probably, I think that's the most dangerous spot on the map right now, even more so than like the authority,
Mhm.
just because everyone knows that. Because there's also there's not really that many buildings at Caddy,
Mhm.
so it's like you don't have a whole lot of places to get mats.
Yeah.
You're kind of exposed.
Yeah,
And
the AI is pretty brutal too. So
oh
it's
my
like,
god, the
yeah.
AI is so brutal, and I don't understand it. Like sometimes you walk in, no big deal, and other times we have lost games because 5 AI just start shooting us in the
Mhm.
back, and we're like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah, and it's
So
like not only does everyone know where you are, but you also have to worry about them just completely lasering you, the AI. So
yep,
it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know. I think that's some of the stuff where I could see there being a mode where that's not how the game is, but I also kind of feel
yeah,
like that is Fortnite. I think at the end of the day
yeah,
is like all this like random crap that they throw at you constantly, and
and
I
being
don't
able
know.
to deal with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
think like one thing that's interesting, and that another reason I kind of needed to like change what I was doing, was that the game really did change after the World Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think it was for the worse, in a lot of ways. So everybody saw, ooh, oh, you're getting sniped from the left? Yeah, yeah, you got this, you got this. Everybody saw that you could win, $3 million, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so everybody was like, you know what? I'm gonna try and be the next Booga, right? And I think that's what like prevented Fortnite, ooh, from being a casual game anymore.
Yes.
90, 20. 140. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that's the enemy. That is indeed the enemy.
Ah! Double team.
Knock. Oh no.
Oh
All of us.
my god.
No. Oh my lord.
Oh my god. All right, why don't we do one more, and then we'll kind of roll in, do some viewer questions and that kind of thing. That'll be good.
So question for you.
Yeah.
What were some of your favorite like retro franchises?
Retro franchises. I would say Ninja Turtles for sure.
Oh my god, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like my answer always changes. Probably Leonardo, I think. It's like, I don't know. So you look at Leon, like the reason I always like Leonardo was he was like the most like a ninja, which as a kid you always wanted to be a ninja. And then I think just like the leader aspect of it, and kind of like the challenges of being a leader with like, I think just with the different personalities and stuff like that, because you kind of have like, I think that's what's so great about the Ninja Turtles, like if you really think about like how different even though they're very like, they're very standard personalities, it's like you do have the different personalities, right? And it's like you kind of have
Yeah.
this like the one brother that sort of has, sort of more in the middle of those things, and has to sort of like, play to everyone's strengths, and kind of like, balance those relationships, and balance those
Yeah.
personalities. And I think that's super interesting. But yeah, for sure. As far as like my favorite game of that series, that's a tough one. I would say on NES, it's the third game. It's the Manhattan Project. I like the most.
Ooh, yeah. That's
The original
wait,
game. Oh, go
wait,
ahead.
is that the one where the bosses have like infinite life? Is that the one?
No, not well. I don't think they have infinite life, but it's like
It,
they start
it's
to
like
blink.
really hard.
It's pretty hard, yeah. But
Yeah,
the so the original one was the first Ninja Turtles game that I had,
with the
and
dam, right?
with the
The
dam,
dam.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's but as a kid, it was I felt like it still is. I think it's still impossible. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's like
It's very difficult.
it feels very difficult. And as a kid, like with limited resources to learn, like you get like, let's say you do beat the dam, and you get to the next level with the van. It's like the maze of the van level. It's like it's such a challenge. And also the mini like levels within the van stages were so hard on their own that even if you could get through those, you still weren't like getting anywhere. Like it was just so hard. And then, I mean, and then also like like one of the turtles. Why don't we do? Let's not do that. I was gonna say here. Why don't we land your drop up here? Is this where your drop is? Like up here? Let's do that. I'm down. Yeah.
Apparently, we have a sniper trying to kill us, so we'll try our best here.
Oh, that's fair. Well, what the heck? What the heck, guys? But yeah. So, anyways, that was always the challenge with that game. But I would say the third one was the first one where I felt like I could play it and like I could do well. Like I could play it for a while and enjoy it. Because the second game is the straight rip from the arcade, and it plays it plays like an arcade, which I don't enjoy, because the thing with arcade games is that they were meant for you to feed quarters into.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna die, and it's super difficult. So that was always kind of like my challenge with that. I was like,
Oh, I got hit by a helicopter. That's unfortunate.
oh, come on.
Hey, Yogo. Oh no, Snakesy!
Dang it. Man, they're really good at stream sniping us. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's one of their things, I guess. But I just got lasered, big time. Did not expect to get headshot sniped by a hunting rifle. You are the greatest of all time. You got this.
He's coming.
I believe.
He's coming. He's got to be coming. I can hear him.
Here he is, yep. Oh lord.
I like to think myself a professional.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's another guy here too.
That's There he is. Come on, give me the harpoon. Give it to me. Give me a kill. Respect the harpoon play. Do it. Go. Gotcha. Got him.
Where's the other one? Is there one more, or did you get them all?
We do have one more. He's hiding in a bush. Yo, go.
He was just trying to dance too. Oh my god.
Yep.
Good god.
So this is the spot, even in a casual game, right?
Mm-hmm.
People land here like crazy. Even without Yogo and Snakesy, we have a lot of people who land here. So it's kind of wild.
Okay.
But yeah, so you were talking about you didn't like that it felt like an arcade, and you died a lot, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like that was my favorite. So that Ninja Turtles game though is my favorite game to play on arcade. So like if you are if you're playing on an arcade and you either can keep feeding quarters or you can feed like let's say you can just keep continuing. I think it's a really, really good game, and it felt a lot like the cartoon, and it just had
Mhm.
like I had a lot of there's guys down here still. I had a lot of nostalgia for that game because it felt the most like the Ninja Turtles that I really loved.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so I thought I don't know. That's always why I loved that game because it was like it felt like what I wanted Ninja Turtles to be, and I just have like
Yeah.
really good memories of like being at the what's it called, like being at a being at like the movies or something, and there's like an arcade machine or like anywhere
Oh
you'd see that
yeah.
arcade machine, you would just want to be like you just want to be like crowded around it, and there was a bunch of kids crowded around it all the time, and like it was just good. It was just
There are 6 people alive here. That's a lot of
oh, I hit
people.
one of them. I cracked one. I'm gonna slide down.
Nice.
Oh god, is this gonna blow up or what's going on with this? I don't even know.
Yeah, the gas station will blow up.
They're on me.
Okay. Come on. I'm on my way. Behind you.
Oh yeah, I'm
Bring
out
around the
of.
rosy. 36. You got it. I believe.
Ah! So close.
Don't you mess with my friend. Oh my. There we go.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
That's about perfect there.
There we go.
Oh my god.
Oh
Ah,
my goodness.
Jesus. All right, so yeah, let's go into some I guess some viewer questions, and then I'm trying to think if I feel like I might have had one or two more things just on like stream in general. I guess some of the things I want to talk about, some of the marketing things that you find like that you're doing, like what are some of the things that you found that seem like they help you in terms of growth or just like getting people into your channel? Like what are things that you've been doing that you feel like are working well for you? What are things you've tried that maybe hadn't worked? That kind of thing.
So, I think one thing that's super important, this that I learned from marketing and just my favorite class was my consumer behavior class. I think that's going to pay dividends, and I need to put some more time into it, just studying it independently and just looking more into that research. But some tips that really helped me is that the first one is that you should never look to well, not never, that's a strong word, but you should not look for to the people who are followers or in your community to tell you what they actually want, right? They
Mm,
might you have to be the one to give it to them before they know what they want. And that's not like an entitled statement, but like my PhD consumer behavior class, she's probably one of the smartest people I've ever like interacted with,
mm-hmm,
and like she's a great teacher and brilliant, so it's hard to find that combination. But she was in a study to see with Garmin, like the first ones to have the GPS,
mm-hmm,
and like for consumers, and she said, along with many other people, that they would not buy a GPS even for $50 because they could use MapQuest for free,
mm,
and that they didn't want to mess with some device in their car and look and link that up to their car. They didn't want to do that.
mm-hmm,
And so, and she's even, forward thinking ahead of the curve, right? And she even said she wouldn't want that. And so if Garmin wouldn't have listened, they wouldn't have, become the company they were and made all that money and brought GPSs to market. And look, everyone has a GPS on their phone now, right?
mm-hmm,
And I do know a lot of people who actually can't get around without using a GPS. So um, being okay experimenting and failing, um, and being willing to try new things, and get outside of your comfort zone, was a big step for me to take also and implement that into the stream. But also looking at your analytics. So I don't look moment to moment at my viewer count, because I like to focus on the people who are active in the chat, and focus on the people that are there and not the people that, whether it's a high number or a low number, right? The energy, I want it to be the same, and I want the people who are there to be getting like recognized and appreciated,
mm-hmm,
and get the same content regardless of, even if it really is only one or two people versus 15 or so
mm-hmm,
people, that everyone's getting the same content. Um, but looking at your analytics, so like I tried something new. So I do every other week. I do customs where I play random video games like what we just did, except there are rules like you can't fight until the second zone closes, But in the meantime, everybody can dance, have a good time, get full mats, get good weapons. And I host this with other content creators, and we
Mm-hmm.
all get in and we play for a few hours, and it's always a blast, right? So I was like, huh, maybe I could do solo customs like for arena to help people practice and get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't advertise it in the same way, but I still like talked about it a lot, and nobody really wanted to do that. And my analytics and like from the stream showed that. And so that's something until I won't try until like the stream were to hit a next growth level. So looking at your metrics afterwards, identifying what's going wrong. You can look at the up and down scale to see like, did I get in an argument at this time? Was it because I lost I lost games? Because like 6 months ago, if I was having like a number of bad games, I would down on myself and I
Mm-hmm.
would end the stream, right? Because I was
Yeah.
like, I had a long day, I'm doing really bad. But I started looking at the numbers, and people actually don't, even though like I'm a competitive minded gamer, they don't care if I win or lose actually.
Mm-hmm.
I have a slightly higher number when I'm doing well, but it's actually stays about the same even if I'm doing badly. So as long as I'm having fun with it,
Mm-hmm.
then that's what keeps people around. So like identifying, looking at your numbers, looking at the measurements and saying, okay, well this worked, this didn't, and being willing to change. So a lot of that I learned from consumer behavior, and I think that made a big difference in my stream. And then also like logo design and looking at what do you want to be known for, what comes to mind, like identifying key phrases, like when someone hears Division by Zero and sees my logo, what do they think,
Mm-hmm.
and what comes to mind, and like maximizing those good things. Because it's like the example that my professor used was, if so what's the Ben and Jerry's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you when you hear Ben and Jerry's, if you had to say like three words, the three biggest words were like creamy, rich, and creamy, rich, and um, what's the word for like really? It's not like really filling, but it's like something for desserts. But it was like creamy, rich, and one other word, but like
Okay.
they were debating between making a cookie dough, a special cookie dough, or making a fruit pop,
Okay.
right? And so they did a bunch of customer research, and the fruit pop clashes with their brand,
Makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
Because people know them as this rich, creamy, filling dessert, and then healthy fruit pops that are like low sugar. Even if they're good, it doesn't quite make sense for their brand.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas more people are on board to buy their cookie dough. So um, just like little things like that I find extremely interesting, and looking into the psychology of what motivates people to go to a specific channel or content creator or buy a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just find that type of content really interesting to learn about, and um, there's really no end to where it goes and how much we can learn. So it's
That makes sense. It's like for me, like when I jump in and I start to try to do, arena, or I try to do a tournament or something like that, because it's not something that really fits with, just one with my personality, but with what my viewers are used to watching. I tend to have a completely different energy, when I jump in and do that, especially if things aren't going well. Like if I get
yeah,
frustrated, it really like it brings me down. It kind of brings like my whole like outlook, it just just brings everything down a notch. And
yeah,
it's definitely, I've noticed that it's definitely the complete like wrong content for me for me to stream. Like it's okay if I want to do arena, but it's like if I'm gonna do
yeah,
arena, I'm gonna do it off stream. I'm gonna do it on my own.
yeah,
Or just do it very sparingly. Like it's like I got to be in a very specific mood to jump in and try to do that. And yeah, and I think we noticed that like pretty quickly, because like kind of along with what you're saying is I don't necessarily, and this is what maybe I should be doing, but I'm not looking at those like when things went up or down, or like what that peak was. But I am going back and looking at, how was my energy during stream? Like,
mhm,
was I entertaining myself? Like, was I getting something out of, when I go back to watch it, was I getting something out of it? But then also, like, what were those moments where maybe I wasn't, or where I felt like,
yeah,
the whole energy of the stream, completely shifted or changed. And a couple of things we noticed were when you get like those odd requests in chat, not even odd requests, but those common requests of like people asking to play, people
Mhm.
asking for something, asking for, especially with Fortnite, asking for a skin,
Yeah.
asking for V-Bucks, asking for anything, right? And what we've noticed is the more that I noticed it, and even if I didn't respond to it, it still was affecting my energy, and it was like, the fact that I
Yeah.
would have to say no, or the fact that sort of thing, it kind of like brings the vibe of like the
Mhm.
whole stream down, and it really gets me off of my rhythm in terms of trying to be entertaining and fun and funny and like doing all these things that I think people really get a kick out of.
Yeah.
So we got to this point where we try to just purge those things like as quick as possible. So my mods are trying to make it so that they've got a lot of keywords in there, but they try to make it so I don't even see it, right? So that
Yeah.
it's gone before like I even have had a chance to read it. And it also sort of sets a tone that the stream isn't about like any one individual. It's about like the community, or about everyone enjoying the this sort of shared experience or the shared content. And um yeah, and I don't know, I find that like watching myself back is probably the best thing I found in terms of improving the content, but then also
Yeah.
not just growth, but just I think just personal growth, right? As a streamer and a
Mhm.
broadcaster, is like just trying to figure out like what can you do better, what do you like about how your stream looks, what do you think could be better, or what
Mhm.
that kind of thing. But so I want to ask you, what's your social media strategy? Like, what are you doing with social media? Do you feel like it's important? Like, kind of where's your head at with that?
So I would say it is hugely important if you're looking for growth. And I would say you need to be active on at least two other platforms other than Twitch at a minimum if you're a streamer who's looking to grow. I could do a better job of that, but I think Discord, a lot of people put like they push a Discord, but they don't actually do that much in it. So you need to, if you're gonna push a Discord, it needs to be like top notch, and you need to have like optimization. You need to have it synced up to your Twitch account so it shows when you're a subscriber, so people really feel rewarded for being like members of that Discord.
Hmm.
But I got on TikTok. I didn't have a creator code yet for Epic Games, so I couldn't host custom games. So I got on TikTok because I wanted to go viral, and I like made a couple videos, and I made one making fun of Fortnite, and I have like 13,000 followers, and I haven't made any follower, or I haven't made like any videos since. So
Oh my god.
um, I got my creator code, and then I was like, okay, I'm over TikTok. You see, it's about to get banned, by the way, in the
Yeah.
U.S. So probably not the social media move for anybody who's looking for a social media platform.
Yeah.
But
TikTok is my
I,
favorite social media right now too. Like, I use
yep,
it. I probably use it the most. I've got the most content on there. Like, I just love the form of it. Like, I think that like
yeah,
the short form is really really fun. I was also doing this thing where I was doing, like, I haven't done this in a long time, but when I first started on TikTok, I was doing the dances. So like I would do like I would
yeah,
find like whatever the trend was, or would have
yeah,
I'd have there's a community member that she would give me like one of the dances, but she would like send me a video of her doing it, and then I would try to like duplicate it. But I would
yeah,
do like kind
yeah,
of like what we're doing now, where I would have a split screen, so you could see her
yeah.
doing it, and then you could see me
The
like
duet,
practicing
the
it. Yeah.
duet,
Well,
yeah.
kind of like a duet, but it was live on stream, so I would do it on Twitch.
Oh,
So I like
okay.
I would practice it, and then like do like I would practice it to the point that I could record it, and then I would use my phone to record it while I was live. So like my viewers could see
That's
me
cool,
like,
yeah.
yeah, they could like see me like learning the progression of this dance or whatever from the start to
Mm.
the finish. But the downside was those never did very well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like the video, like I think it was fun content for Twitch, but it was like
Yeah,
the TikTok content wasn't, it didn't do the best. So I don't
yeah.
know. But what other socials are you on? What other ones you think are worth spending time on, or that you've seen some seen some good interaction on, or that you think might be good for either getting more people into your community, that kind of thing?
Well, I think, and I'm a bit late to the party on this one. I still think that Twitter is the most powerful social media uh, for like people on Twitch, generally speaking. Now, there are some who get a big following on Instagram, and maybe it could just be me, right? But I did not see a whole lot of growth on Instagram, and I was posting like twice a day for quite some time, like updates, clips, all like a lot of different content.
Hmm.
And I think it's a good supplemental platform to keep users who are truly invested in your community. Like they like to see family pics and like pics of your dogs and
Mm-hmm.
like you know, and to have that interaction, and you can follow them back, and that's really cool. So it's a personal form, but I think growth on that platform is hard. But Twitter allows you to like really just have snippets and like quick conversations with people that you wouldn't be able to have otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you're just posting go live notifications, that's not going to do anything for you. But like reposting content you appreciate, making comments to people, I would definitely say avoid arguments. Because that's a lot of Twitter is. So you
Mm-hmm.
avoiding like arguments unless it's one that you feel very strongly about.
Yeah.
Uh, but you know, just being able to talk to people, and that gets people interested. If you have something unique to say
Mm-hmm.
or a different perspective on like you know, say Nick Merckx makes a post about Warzone, you're like have a unique take on a new weapon or a new update, people might like follow you or like that content and say
Mm-hmm.
like, huh, this person thinks the same way I do or thinks differently, let's go see what they're about.
Yeah, I think that's for me, I think Twitter's definitely the most compelling in terms of I like the fact that I can communicate with someone that, with one of these content creators, like you said, like a Nick Merckx, like, a Ninja, like any, like Dakotas or, any of these people, like I can go in and if I come up with a meaningful response to something that they post and it catches their attention, they may directly interact with me.
Mhm.
Where in their chat or in any other like forum, you have no access to that individual, right? Like you have no access
Yeah.
to, letting them know who you are in any way, having any type of conversation or any type of any type of back and forth. And I think it's super interesting. I mean, that's where I think it's like you said, the going live notification thing. It definitely is definitely something that I do, but it's also something where it's not really like a meaningful use of the platform. Like it's not really like what its intent is. Like nobody really cares. Like it's nice maybe as a reminder, but it's not like content that is there for people to interact with, right? There's no give and take with a going live, notification. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
what do we talk about? You're
Yeah.
live. I see that you're live. Like, so yeah, I
So I
definitely
think
definitely get that.
just so to make sure that like I didn't say it in the wrong way, I think that as long as it's not all your content's about, I think it's important because people like to stay up to date, and also Twitch notifications don't always go out. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so saying you go live like on Instagram stories and Twitter is like a super useful and like helpful way to use that platform, but that just can't be the only way to use that platform because I do when I'm looking at new people looking for new content creators on Twitter, some of them literally they have 200 tweets and they're all going live notifications, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you're like, they're just there to try and pull people in, and they're not giving back to the community on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah. It's
So,
like why should I follow you? That kind of thing. And
mhm.
that I've told this story before, but that was actually how I connected with Dom Dom in the first place
Mhm.
was I was using commonly like used hashtags by streamers, especially smaller
Okay.
streamers,
Mhm.
to like actively search for people to connect with, like network with,
Okay.
right? So I would
Yeah.
basically like do a hashtag search on something like, streamers,
Mhm.
Twitch, support small stream, something that a small
Mhm.
streamer would use that generally doesn't get looked at, right? Doesn't get a lot of interaction because you think about how many tweets that that streamers put out constantly and how little interaction that we get, right? Like if you get a comment, if you get a retweet, if you get a like, if you get anything on it, you're gonna respond to it
Yeah.
because you're just so desperate for someone to to say to care or like to notice that you put something out there. And so what I was doing was I was literally going through and I was like looking at the person's post, looking at their clip. I might pop into their stream and then I would write like I would like put thought into it and write meaningful replies to the things that they were posting. And I actually made a lot of connections with streamers doing that. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work because you're writing, I mean when I was doing it like really heavily, I think I was maybe writing like 50 tweets in an hour or something. I mean it was
Oh
like,
wow.
I was
Yeah.
going through it and I dedicate some time to it and I would do a lot, but it was interesting because you could like when you're making a connection with someone, and it'd be funny because I might like write 50 of them, right? And by the time you finish, or by the time you get even halfway through that, your notifications are starting to light up because people are
Yeah.
liking your comment, they're replying to your
Mhm.
comment, that kind of thing. And then if people were live, jumping into their stream and then starting to interact with them there, and then you can kind of weed through like, okay, is this person someone that I want to associate with? Is this someone that I could have a, have some sort of connection with? Because, I mean, a lot of people that stream, I think not everyone really does it well, and it's like, there's people
Yeah.
that you jump into their stream and, the quality's not great. They're not really paying attention. They look like they're just there to play games and they happen to have a camera on them.
Yeah.
They don't know, like their chat's not active and they don't notice that, you're
Mhm.
writing, that you're writing to them. And it's like, okay, I'll give you a couple minutes just in
Yeah.
case, like maybe you're just having a bad moment, but it's like,
Yeah.
you kind of want to see like, and even if the streamer doesn't react, if there's someone else in chat that it might interact with you,
Mhm.
I think that goes a long way too. But
I agree.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so that's actually how I interacted with Dom Dom for the first time, which is super weird because she's connected with a few other people that I already knew.
Yeah.
So it was super interesting, like how that strategy kind of like was working to just kind of like broaden that network of of people. And I agree with
Mhm.
you. I think that Twitter's perfect for that, where pretty much all of the other platforms you're not interacting with people in the same way, and it's just
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. So
Mhm.
what about YouTube? Are you using YouTube at all? Like, do you?
So, I do use YouTube. I edit videos not quite as well as I'd like to, but I edit them down. I edit like tip. So right now, what I'm doing a lot of is I'll have like a really good game, and then I'll kind of edit it down to some highlights, and then put it on there. Um, but I mean, YouTube's a great way to grow. It helps both with your search engine optimization, your SEO, especially with the new updated Twitch profile. So now that you can link your socials, definitely do that. It increases your SEO on like Google and other search websites. And I have brought in a couple people from YouTube. I think like maybe one or two users who just randomly happened to find my video,
Hmm.
but more it's so my focus is Twitch, but I do find that users on Twitch like to find an established streamer, right? And established doesn't necessarily mean 2 years, but like the fact that I've been around for 2 years, I make content on multiple platforms, I'm
Hmm.
active, and I have like and I have a Discord, and I interact with users. That makes them realize like, hey, he's really not going to go anywhere,
Hmm.
unless like something happens. He's here, and he knows what he's doing. And I think that people enjoy getting plugged into communities where stuff is happening, and stuff is happening all over the internet. So like, they could show a friend like, this is this goofy video he did on YouTube, or like, these are some goofy, photos on Instagram. So I think
Hmm.
that having that sense of being concrete makes people feel more comfortable plugging into a community, because it's like friends on Xbox Live, like back in the day when I used to really play. You'd like meet people and you'd play forever, like for like a month. You'd like play every day. You'd like get home, you'd play games, and then like a new game would come out and they'd play that, and then you don't talk to them anymore, and you're like, what do I do now? Like, this was the person I played this game with.
Hmm.
Uh, Same thing with like Twitch. I've been involved in some communities that literally just overnight they disappear, and you don't know when you're going to see them again. Sometimes they never come back, and then you don't get to see those people again. And
Hmm.
that's like, so it's if it happens to you a couple times, it makes you feel way more comfortable when someone's established on multiple social media platforms. So you feel like you have a way to reach out to them, and you feel like you have a way to get updates, and that they're very invested in what they're doing. So
For sure, for sure.
yeah.
All right, guys. So I just typed in chat. But if you guys have questions, for division or for me or anything that we talked about that you guys want us to expand on a little bit, definitely be a good time to jump into that. I see Run Out of a Name had just wrote. So if you have a unique face that people can think is weird, how can you use that to grow your channel? So you mean like just physically, like if you have like an interesting look? Is that I think that's what she's asking, but I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that? I don't know.
So I think that there are a few streamers who are able to get big without webcams, but I would say that a webcam, like, is important. And I think that everybody has like, it's like, I'm trying to figure out like exactly how to say that. You can maximize your community, and I'm sure that um you know things that are important, like wearing outfits that accentuate who you are. I think becoming unique is actually the best thing you can do. So like when you look like other people, or when you do things like other people, a lot of times they're like, because if I streamed and I wore, I dye my hair blue and I like start talking like Ninja all the time, people will just go, why don't I just watch Ninja instead?
Hmm.
Right? But like if you have a unique face, a unique outlook, a unique way that you like to dress, a unique brand, I think that pulls people in. So it is definitely, you have to be confident, and there are going to be people who like the other day I was streaming and I had like 3 people come in and tell me I'm ugly, and I'm like, "Okay," and I'm like, "Thanks. I hope you have a great day." And I'm not mean about it, but people, they're looking for reactions. So
Hmm.
uh you will have people come in and say negative things, but being confident there that your uniqueness is what will allow you to grow, and being confident in that is it's something that you have to learn, but it's so true. So if you have a unique face, I think that um, puts you in a good position to do well in streaming.
Yeah, because it'll help you stand out. It'll help you,
Mhm.
it'll help, because at other times too, people are going to find things maybe in common with you. People are going to, that may
Yup.
like it may speak to certain people that
Mhm.
are looking for someone that's different or someone that has something about them that's different that they can they can find a little bit of there's a little more humanity there. They can relate to it a little bit
Mhm.
better. And I think the like like Division was just saying, like one of the hardest things that I think a lot of streamers have is like you watch your favorite streamers and you kind of like you have this tendency to sort of emulate things that maybe you've seen because you say, well, this guy's doing things this way and it's really working for him. But if it doesn't fit, like, and it's not genuine to who you are and like what what you're all about, at some
Mhm.
point it's going to become a bit transparent to your audience that you're not giving them this like authentic version of yourself, and you're not giving giving something that is unique, right? And
Mhm.
they're like
Yeah.
like you said, they're going to go to the source. It's like
Mhm.
if you're really trying to emulate a different streamer, at some point they're going to be like, well, like you said, I should just be watching this other person. And
Yeah.
I think that's a huge deal. And on the camera thing, like I think that if you don't use a camera, you really have to have, I think, very just very good voice, be
Mhm.
constantly narrating, be constantly giving entertainment. Like it's a totally different experience for people, because if I tune in and it's just a game and the person's not talking, like it's going to take me a long time to make a connection with that individual, rather than than because if I'm just sitting there watching them play, it's like it's gonna take a lot longer to to interact, or like for me to make a connection. So they've got to constantly be talking. They've got to be someone that again has that great voice, like has a great radio voice or broadcaster
Yep.
voice, where
Yeah.
it catches your attention. It makes you feel good listening to it, because that may be how you watch it too. I mean, if it's a no cam stream, you may be just like lurking, you've got it up, you're walking around the house or something, you got it on, you got it on headphones or something, and you're listening to it. I think that I don't know. I think that that's something to kind of keep in mind. Like a weird face. My voice is like a 14-year-old. So maybe it's unique. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would just own that. I think the things that the things that make you different, I think just own them. And I don't know. Don't apologize for them. Just do it. You saw the next question, I think.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
my
my god.
gosh, Snakesy.
Oh my
Oh
god.
man.
I have a question for you. How many
Okay.
how many people in your community do stream snipe, and how often does that happen? Like, is it like what? Because I was amazed at how good they were at doing it. Like, I mean, I get
Mhm.
like there was no delay, but at the same time, like they were still able to jump into those games pretty easily. Like they did it, like back to back maybe.
Mhm.
So,
So, I would say it was a problem when I more of a problem when I first started, like doing the duo pub games with other content creators, because for they would do it every once in a while, but then when I did that, like they were then in 2 streams, right?
hmm.
But I had a conversation with it because we're a great community and we're really supportive of one another, and I talked to him and I was like, "Hey guys, like, I know you want to be in here and I know you want to be playing games, but like it looks bad for us as a community and us as a brand because you guys are really good when you come in and kill us, you know? So like if we say like it's a serious game or if it's a tournament, like just don't, and if I'm playing with other content creators, if you want to get in the game, you want to dance around, we'll laugh at it, have a good time. But you can, even if you can kill me, but like also it looks bad for the community. And then they got that and they're like, you know what, that makes sense because they do want the community to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And they do want to meet new people. So they're like, you know what, like we had two people stream snipe, but they just danced on us, right?
Yeah.
So like they're like, okay, we're here to have a good time and just kind of be on the stream a little bit. So we had at one point I think we had like 4 or 5 people in a game one time. But that only happened like once, and since we had
Yeah.
that conversation, it all kind of figured
Yeah.
itself
That's
out.
the tricky thing I find with stream sniping is it's hard to find that balance between like it being fun and entertaining for everyone, but then also not just being about that individual, kind of like stealing a little bit of the spotlight and making it kind of about, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
kind of making it about them in that moment. And it's kind of like, how do
Yep.
you, that like finding that balance where you draw the line where it's, where like this amount is okay, but this amount's
Mhm.
not. And like doing it in this
Yep.
way, because that is a thing, right? Like if you've got, if you've got a decent sized community and, people are coming in looking at it, they're like, well, why does this guy get to come in and do that, where I feel like if I went and did that, then I would get, I'd get banned or timed out,
Mhm.
or, you know what I mean? Like, so, and I don't know. So I think that's always it's kind of a tricky
Mhm.
thing. Is it important to be able to build really good to win? I don't think so. I mean, I think it depends on what level you're at, but it kind of
Yeah.
depends on, yeah, I think with the with the skill based matchmaking. I think it completely has to do with that. Like, how far along are you in your progression? So, I mean, for you, it's probably huge, right?
Yes, building is also hugely important in my play style, but I do have a couple friends. So one of my friends started playing Fortnite basically like season one, and he really doesn't build, but the way he plays, and same thing like and Dom, I actually because I thought like you have to crank every time, and I was actually struggling a lot. But then I like sat down and I watched Dom play a few times, and she plays in her box, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she builds up like 2 stories, and then she sits in her box and then she waits. And I see people who are like who are good. They could probably outbuild me speed wise. And then
Mm-hmm.
they come down, they do a greedy edit, and
Mm-hmm.
and she pumps them in the face and they die.
Yeah.
You know, they did all this work, they built 10 stories up, came down, took the wall, edit, and then just to die. So like you just have to maximize your play style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's what same thing with keybinds. You want to base it on what makes sense for your like brain and how your brain works and sensitivity and how you play the game to what you're good at. Because you can beat pro players if you think differently than them and you don't try to think like them. Same thing with
Mm-hmm.
streaming and success in streaming. You know, as
Yeah.
long as you maximize what you're good at.
Yeah, and definitely playing to your strengths is important, and then knowing what you can do and what you can't do, and then also looking at how, like you was like like Division was just saying, like how aggressive is the player. Like if
Mhm.
you know that they're going to try to take your wall and you're not going to be able to stop them, they're going to be able to edit quicker than you.
Mhm.
Making a play like Dom does, like, where you just know that your aim has got to be good and you got to be ready to take that shot because they're going to take your wall. They're gonna come into your box and be basically be ready to defend that. And I
Mhm.
think it's super important. I had this is a while ago, but I was like talking with Loya in her chat one time,
Mhm.
and she kind of said the same thing about high ping. It's like she knows, like, if she had even ping with most players, she can edit on them and take their walls,
Mhm.
but she knows that with her internet connection, she's not going to take a lot of people's walls, so
Yeah.
she's playing with the assumption that they're going to take that from her, and
Mhm.
kind of playing under the assumption that someone's going to be aggressive in that instance.
Yeah.
So it's sort of interesting how how players, like intelligent players, will figure out what their, like, play to their strengths, know what they know what they can do, what they can't do, and kind
Yeah.
of play around that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how often should you vary between games and stream, like per days and in stream? Yeah, I can go take a shot at that one. I think I've got an opinion on it too.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I think it depends on how you want to position yourself brand wise, um, what games you're playing, and what type of community you want to build. So for me, I do just play Fortnite. I love other games like I'm about to start another probably about to start another run through on Mega Man Command Mission, which is like an old PS2 RPG that I love, and Halo 3 is about to come out on PC, so I'll be playing those games. But I wanted to position myself as a Fortnite player, and so that's what I just play. But I would say keeping it in line with a schedule would be really good if you're able to do that. Say like you stream 4 days a week, and maybe you do have a main game like that you're focusing on. You have 2 days of that, and maybe the other 2 days you do like one day you do one game, one day you do another. That way it's still
Hmm.
variety, but um, people managing people's expectations is really important because if people, if I were to boot up right now and not give people advance notice and be playing Halo, people in my community would be like, "What are you doing? I follow you for Fortnite. I don't want to watch."
Hmm.
But and some would stay because they appreciate my personality and that means a lot to me. But other people do stay and watch for Fortnite. So um,
Yeah,
I
that's I think that is super important. It's just like know your audience, know what you're trying to be as a streamer. I made the like conscious decision I think about a year ago to start to vary my content because
mhm,
I'm not a competitive player and I didn't want to get locked into doing just one thing. So I
yeah,
started to kind of like deconstruct my community around me, because a lot of it was interactive with Fortnite. It was me
mhm,
doing squads with people. It was me doing
yeah,
creative. It was me doing all these things that, really kind of painted me into this sort of box where it was great
mhm,
for some people, but they were really there just for those activities
yeah,
and weren't there so
yeah,
much for my content. So I think that's important because, like, over the past year, I brought, fishing in, I've done cooking streams, we've done, this, doing the podcast. And, the podcast is like doing this is really, really odd, right? Because for the
yeah,
majority of it, I'm not interacting with chat at all. So chat's barely moving. You don't have that same interaction. But for me, it was how do I keep kind of pushing myself and doing things that are different? How to make more connections? Like how do I kind of
yeah,
expand on myself as a like you said, as a content creator outside of a specific game, right? And
mhm,
but it just depends on who you want to be and like what your goals are and like what you want your stream to be built around. I think that's super important. um, I came for Fortnite first time. I saw you too, but now I stay for the personality. So
mhm.
that's exactly it. I think where I just want to show people more me and less of me doing something
Yeah.
specific.
So that
Um,
was something about I did the squads thing too. And I looked at it and it really did feel like people would just come by for that instead of like so it was a balance. So most some of the people who were plugged in most of my community were people that I played games with, but a lot of people, when I stopped doing that, they stopped, wanting to be there. But it was interesting because it was almost like they didn't really want to watch, but they wanted to be in the games.
mhm.
So um, that was an interesting transition as well.
Yeah.
What type of fishing do you do, by the way?
Bass fishing. So I do
Oh.
freshwater bass fishing. So yeah, so it's streaming fishing is difficult because
Mhm.
generally I'm doing it from my phone and it's very signal dependent and it's not always completely obvious that your signal has failed
Oh, no.
while you're doing it. So
Yeah.
I've limited it to like very specific instances, like where I'm in an area where one, I know I'm probably going to catch fish, and two, that I have a strong cell signal because
Mhm.
I had done it a few times where my signal had dropped, and it's just difficult because now the community's like, is he still here? Does he know that he's gone? Like, and I don't want to leave people kind
Yeah.
of hanging and have sort of this like inconsistent kind of thing, but
Mm.
I love it. I mean, I love being able to do it when I can. It's a really interesting. Like I have it in one of my videos. I don't know if it's in the intro or I think it's the outro. I have some fishing clips in, and it's cool. Like I generally like set the camera up. I walk down by the water. I'll fish a little bit. If I catch a fish, I come up. That's where we have like the fish dab. Is one of the emotes that
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got in chat and stuff like that. And I've done it IRL a bunch of times. I've actually fish dabbed like a bunch of times, and it's funny. And I don't know. People get excited when I catch something, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It's neat. I really enjoy it. The fishing or the cooking stuff. I love too, but generally when I do cooking, like I always do things way overboard. Like I take the entire setup. So like I will take my computer, my monitors, my lights. I literally take everything out of this
Oh my
room,
gosh.
set it up in my kitchen, and then do a cooking stream. And
Oh
it's
my
it's a
gosh.
whole weekend activity because you can imagine like disconnecting your entire setup and
Mhm.
then reconnecting it, and it's just a pain. But let's just do a
So
couple. Oh, go ahead.
what are some of your what do you cook? Is it like epic mealtime food or is it like What are some of
Yeah,
the
it can be. So like there's a YouTuber named Sam the Cooking Guy that I watch like all the time, and like I really did like because he guys does like these over the top meals. So
yeah.
I've done like what was the one of the ones I did was a 4x4 animal style burger, like an In-N-Out burger that I made, and it was literally four patties, which were
Ooh.
bacon. It was like I chopped up bacon, mixed it into the patty, so it was four
Oh my
patties, four
gosh.
pieces of cheese, like just
Mm.
like crazy, right? Like, and it's
Yep.
in again, it's in one of my videos, but it's like this just giant monstrosity, and you've got like I don't know, it's just funny. But then I've done like steak fries. I've done um like all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yo, you just got a huge raid, by the way.
I know, I know. I wasn't not appreciating it. I wasn't not appreciating it. I was just finishing, trying to finish the story, but also like, I don't know. Like, what do you do if you're doing the
Yep.
podcast? I guess you acknowledge it, but like when people watch or listen on YouTube, they're like, "What do you mean you got a giant raid or host or
Oh,
something?"
okay. Got it. Fair
So
enough.
it's
Fair enough.
like, yeah, it's so confusing. I don't know, but thank you so much, Gabby. Appreciate it. Gabby actually was the guest 2 weeks ago. She was on. Really, really good. Yeah, very good friend. Awesome streamer. But thank you guys so much for coming. Yeah, we were just about done too. I'm trying to think here.
Sorry,
See,
sorry for messing up your YouTube
no,
content. I
no,
apologize.
no. It's cool. It's cool. It's just like it totally breaks the breaks the breaks the concentration. It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate this so much though. Let's see. We had a couple. If you have, let's just finish with a couple more questions here. So if you have people coming in and then leaving stream often, how should one look for? Like what went wrong? What do you think on that? I don't. I kind of again I have an opinion, but I think I'll hold it back.
So I think, at least for me, it depends on what they came in and said, right? Versus were they silent? Did you see your numbers go up a lot and then leave and without people saying anything? So I think you have people who come in who are looking just for shout outs, right? They'll send three
Hmm.
messages and then they'll go, "Hey, can you check out my clip?" And you're like, "Sorry, man, we don't do self promotion here." And then they're like, I've literally had people say, F you, and then like leave, right? That's just people looking for a quick shout out. There's nothing you did wrong there. Um, the other is that if people are being silent and your notice numbers going up and down, maybe you might have a technical issue actually.
Hmm.
So for me, when I went and actually made my first YouTube video, I realized that my mic needed a lot of work and I needed to add filters to my mic because it did not sound good and my video quality was changing a lot.
Hmm.
So I think if you have people coming in and if they're nice or if they're not saying anything and then they just kind of leave, there might be a technical issue um, going on with the stream, especially if they're normally there and then they like are heading out. Um, so those would be like two things I would look at. One, you don't concern yourself with really because it just happens on Twitch, and B, maybe look at some of your setup. And
Hmm.
the other is that if you aren't making content necessarily that they enjoy, and if you see it as like if you feel like your content isn't up to par and isn't scalable, but and people are coming in and out and leaving, maybe you reevaluate what you're doing. Maybe you want to do different games. But I would say continue your thought, continue your stream, right, and then look at the numbers so you have an more objective view of it. Because if you're in that moment, you see that, and you're watching your numbers, and it ticks down, and you're like, I'm just gonna end stream. You don't like maybe it was just a dead time in Twitch. Maybe people came back and maybe people really do like that game. Like I said, it was just a fluke. So it's about
Hmm.
looking at like the surrounding situation to really evaluate what's happening.
Yeah, but I also think don't get discouraged by people coming and going because it's just how people watch Twitch. I mean, most people, when they're watching streams, they're not going to sit there for the entirety of the stream, right? Like they're not going
Yep.
to, sit there and interact with you for 6, 7 hours, at a time and not come and go. I mean, even if you look at some of the biggest streamers, it's like their numbers are fluctuating, by
Yeah.
hundreds or thousands, every second, because people constantly are coming and going. So I think getting caught up in that, your view count going up and down, your that kind of thing. I just don't think it's worth focusing on. But I think like Division was saying, I think just more focus on your content, and then also like look back at it too, because I had the same issue with my microphone for a long time. I'm someone that Generally when I'm playing, I react very, very strongly. I have, I'm very loud. Like I get, get very excited, and my mic was peaking. It was peaking
Yep.
really, really badly. And if you were someone that was lurking, trying to chill, and all of a sudden I make a shot and my mic does that, and it just crushes your ears. I mean, you're not going to want to hang out and just be, because it's not chill anymore. It's like that's the stuff that I think is important to kind of like reflect on as a streamer and make sure that you have a consistent experience for people where just because you reacted strongly doesn't mean that they're gonna become uncomfortable. Where it's just not good. Same thing with the video quality. Like my video quality has come a long way. Like I did not understand how my webcam worked when I first started streaming. I had no idea. And it's taken me a long time to understand like lighting. It's taken a long time to understand how to tweak it and set it up properly, so that I got a lot more out of my hardware. I kept thinking that I needed like better and better hardware when in reality it didn't. It was just learning how to optimize it and make sure everything was set up properly. Whether it's the microphone, the camera,
Yeah.
your overlays, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
we can do one more. So, do you think it's wrong to involve your kids in the stream? I can start on that one. I don't think it's that there's anything wrong with it, but I definitely would just look at, what are you exposing them to? Like, what's the community like? Are they reading chat? Because sometimes obviously chat can get, can be a very like unfriendly place for, for young kids. So yeah, I would look at it from that kind of perspective. I think it's not wrong to involve them, but also you have to think of like the privacy of it and the
Hmm.
exposure and things that you're exposing them to for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. 'Cause I know I have like my nephews, and they watch my stream occasionally, and they're little, but for the most part I'm PG. I try to kind of keep it tame, and they can't read, so I'm not too worried about that part of it. So. Yeah, 13 and up. Yeah. I mean, you think about a lot of your viewers, a lot of viewers on Twitch are 13, 14. So,
Hmm.
I don't think that's too young, but again, it's, what do you want to expose them to? And, that's that kind of thing. So as long as it's a good, respectful environment, I don't see what the harm would be necessarily. Yeah. I don't know. Do you have anything that you kind of wanted to kind of touch on before we, kind of wrap things up, or like yeah, I guess just anything you kind of have on your mind that you might want to hit
Well,
on?
I do want to say I appreciate you having me here and doing this. This is a different experience for me, so it was really fun. I apologize if I was a bit slow today in both my gameplay and my answers. I'm a bit tired. I didn't sleep well last night, but I was excited to be here. And yeah, if you guys haven't, if you like music and you like video game soundtracks, you should listen to some Mega Man music. I always try to get people into Mega Man. I'm like, it's so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's so
yeah.
good.
I did
Uh,
I did Mega Man 2 a while ago, but yeah, that game's got a great soundtrack too, and it's just
mhm.
like I don't know, but no,
But
I really appreciate you taking the time, because I know the biggest thing when I've been doing these is it is a big like cuz like I was talking to someone, they're like, "Why are you doing it so early?" I was like, "Well, dude, like everyone that streams is trying to stream all the time."
yep.
And they have a very finite amount of time where they're not streaming, that they can either play games or do something like this. So it is a big ask anytime you have someone come on to do this. So I really, really appreciate the time. And I threw your link up there a couple of times. You guys should definitely drop him a
Thank you.
follow. He's great. Just obviously you can tell like great personality. Good Fortnite player. Just looks like he's really, he's putting in the time to put together a really good stream, building his community the right way. And that's definitely why I wanted to have him on. So really, really appreciate your time, man.
Yep.
So yeah, so thank you. All right.
Well, yeah.
So let
Thank
me
you. You guys have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you so much. And it was an opportunity, a huge opportunity to come in here and meet another, another community that's really open and kind. And you're the type of content creator that I'm just so thankful that is on Twitch. Someone who's willing to try different things and builds a positive community and a positive brand around what you love to do. So if we get more of that and more content creators like you, or just you and you blow up, that's what we need on Twitch.
for sure.
Um, so,
Cool. Thank you, man. All right. We'll talk later.
so thank you very much. Talk to you later.
All right, guys. I'm going basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up the podcast here, and then I will be right back. So thank you guys so much for listening today. I really, really appreciate it. Look for it on YouTube. We'll have it up probably later today. But yeah, I will see you guys in a second.